All right, hello there. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time you're tuning into this video, just make sure that it is good. My name is Game Boy Rob, and today we're gonna do something a little silly. We're gonna look at a bit of a deck that is a little different than the type of deck I usually showcase on this channel, and a little bit different than the type of deck that I usually play on stream, and that is this. Fish Are Friends is what I've named the deck. And let me show you what this is all about. This is a deck, as you may have guessed, centered around the card Wiggly Burblefish. In case you're unfamiliar, this is a new card that was just added in the last patch. It is a 6 mana Bilgewater unit that is it costs 6 mana for just a little 3/1 with elusive, right? Sounds pretty bad. Sounds like a terrible card. Why would you ever put this in your deck? Well, the reason is because of its text. It says, reduced my cost by 1 for each spell you've cast this game. And then when it is summoned, you create a 1-cost spell from your regions in your hand. So essentially this card, it says 6, but it is pretty easy to get this card all the way down to 0 very consistently in the right deck. So this is really a 0 mana 3/1 with elusive. And that also creates a 1-cost spell in your regions. And that is a bit of a different card, right? That's a pretty decent card. So that's what this deck is all about. This is essentially an elusives deck. This is elusives with extra steps is a good way of describing this deck. We're running 3 copies of Poro Cannon because Poro Cannon is a 0-cost spell, right? Which synergizes with Wiggly Burblefish, and it creates 2 elusive Poros, right? Everything we want to do is encapsulated in Poro Cannon. Fantastic card. The champions we're running is Fizz and Teemo, obviously because they're both elusive and in our regions. We're running 3 copies of Ballistic Bot, and this probably is one of the most important cards in this whole deck. Way more important than the champions, right? And that's because he creates ignitions, and we need these ignitions for the deck, for our deck plan, for our deck style, right? We need these things because we are going to be wanting to cast a lot of spells, both to help get Wiggly Burblefish's cost down to 0, and also to enable big ol' mind melds. In case you've never seen this card before, I don't blame you. I will explain it. It is a 7 mana Bilgewater spell, slow speed, that says, this round set all allies' power and health to the number of spells you've played this game. So if you have cast 7 spells, every single one of your units will be a 7/7 for a single turn, etc., etc., which is pretty devastating if all your units already have elusive, right? So that's the basic plan right there, is to cast a bunch of spells using Ballistic Bot, Poro Cannon, Coral Creatures creates a spell, lots of things that create cheap spells that we can cast a lot, and then getting out cheap Burblefishes and big-ass Mind Melds. That's the plan. We're running 3 copies of Zap for a similar reason. Zap is an elusive unit that gives us a 1-cost spell to our hand. Well, not a 1-cost spell, gives us a cheap spell to our hand, right? 3 or less. So speaking of, what 3-cost spells do we have? 3 or less, right? We've got 3 copies of Poro Cannon, obviously, and then we've got 3 copies of Pick a Card and 3 copies of Iterative Improvement. Now, why the heck are we running these 2 cards? Well, Pick a Card very simply helps us not run out of steam, right? And combined with, you know, useless junk that we get off Coral Creatures and, you know, ignitions, we can actually draw 3 cards instead of like having to put back one of our cards, right? We could just put back a piece of garbage we don't want anyway, and then just draw 3 new cards next turn. We also are running Iterative Improvement, and the reason for this is because of Wiggly Burblefish. If we create a copy of Wiggly Burblefish, we'll get a 4/2 that still costs 0. If we have a 0-cost Wiggly Burblefish, we create a copy of it, we get a 0-cost Wiggly Burblefish in hand. It's that easy. And that is some really, really good synergy. And obviously it's a cheap spell that helps make Mind Meld go off, so we are throwing it in the deck. We have a 1-off of Aftershock, which might seem a little out of place until you realize that this card can go face, and then it makes a lot of sense. Aftershock is basically like, obviously it can kill units and it can destroy landmarks, but if you don't want to do any of that, if you don't want to interact with your opponent's board, this is basically a 4-mana Decimate, right? This is a Decimate that costs 1 less mana and deals 1 less damage, and that's not bad at all. That is not bad at all. So that we've got a 1-off of that in here. We've got 3 Use Cask Salesmen. This is here mostly to act as a sort of pseudo triple blocker, right? In case our opponent gets like a board advantage on us and we are running out of units, we can just slap this guy down and suddenly we have 3 bodies that can block, right? And then the 2 caustic casks that he summons both deal 1 to our opponent's nexus as well as our own, but we care more about our opponent's nexus, right? So that's great. And then 3 copies of Suit Up, because we're going to be drawing a lot of cards and putting, you know, making one of our little elusive units into a 4/4 for like 2 mana is, that's pretty good. That's pretty strong. So, yep, that's the deck right there. I think the only card I haven't mentioned is Pool Shark. We've got 3 copies of Pool Shark just to help us not run out of steam. Very few things in the deck will be a whiff. Like if we play Pool Shark on turn 2, turn 3, there are very few things that we won't want to play the next turn, mostly just Mind Meld, maybe a Wiggly, maybe a Burblefish if we haven't gotten its cost down low yet and we have to discard that. That's unfortunate, but everything else in the deck wants to be played kind of immediately, so 3 copies of Pool Shark is totally fine. So that's the deck right there. This is not my original concept. I am not the person who came up with this idea. Building a Wiggly Burblefish deck with Mind Meld and Iterative Improvement is a thing that people have been testing ever since Wiggly Burblefish came out. But this is my personal take on it. I haven't copied this list from anyone. This is my personal list that I built myself, so I hope you guys enjoy it. I think that's enough of a deck tech, and I think we can just get into some games. Now, I should preface this. Before we get going too far, I should say that this is probably not a deck that you should try to climb ladder with if that's your thing. If you're like, man, I really want to I want to get on that ladder, I want to dominate everyone, I want to beat the meta, and I want to climb the ladder up to, you know, platinum or masters or wherever you're trying to get, I wouldn't really recommend this. This is a fun deck. It's a really fun and silly deck, but it's probably not gonna go beating Grand Plazas. It's probably not gonna go beating Go Hard, and it's not gonna beat whatever else is in the meta, you know, when you're watching this video. So more of a fun deck, bit of a meme deck, slightly better than meme tier, right? But I'm playing it in normals. I'm not gonna take my rank right now, so that's just thought I'd throw that out there before we get going too far. But yeah, so let's get started, and I hope you guys enjoy these games coming up. Okay, welcome to normals. We got some weird stuff. Katarina Riven with Demacia. Color me interested. Color me interested. Okay, so we're gonna mulligan away 1 Coral Creatures. I think we'll keep the 1, 2, 3 here, especially since our opponent is attacking on 3. Dropping the used cask on 3 makes a lot of sense. I think we can just keep the rest of this. Okay, okay, that Coral Creatures really wanted to be in our hand. That's fine.
Prepared for anything.
Fleet Feather is a little bit spooky here. We're not gonna block that, obviously. If that Fleet Feather wants to trade with Teemo, he'll have to challenge it later. It'll have to challenge it.
Found one.
We'll drop the creatures on 2. Ooh, we find a Mushroom Cloud.
I write the rules of power.
And honestly, we could probably attack here with the Coral Creatures, and I think I'm okay with trading it into either of those. Yeah. My opponent does not want to block this Coral Creatures. Fantastic for us. The more damage, the better. Now, we're probably not going to play this Mushroom Cloud unless it's the difference between leveling up Teemo, and looks like it very well could be. Never mind. Our opponent is trading away his bird for our Teemo. That's fine. I did my best. You're doing a great job, Teemo. You're doing a great job. We're going to drop another Coral Creatures. Ooh, and we get a Jailbreak this time. That's very nice. Our opponent drops the Grand Plaza. And I'm spooked.
2, 3, 4.
I am well and truly spooked. We get a Sinister Poro. That's gotta be like the worst 1-drop we could have gotten, I think. Well, maybe not the worst, but it's up there, right? We're just gonna open attack. Our opponent does not block anything. Teemo's almost leveled up. We could level up Teemo if we really wanted to, but considering considering our opponent, their entire deck has Challenger now, we're gonna have to send that mushroom cloud away and hope to get better cards out here. Yeah, challengers are something we really don't want to deal with, and that's unfortunate because that's what Grand Plaza is all about. That's what it's all about. Okay. How much mana do we have? We have a total of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I don't have enough to do all of that. So I'm not going to play that salesman this turn. We are probably going to pass here. Our opponent is going to want to take down our board with his challengers, so I think it's okay to just pass.
What conflict awaits?
That's really dangerous. Passing when I have these fleeting cards in hand after I pick a card is actually super dangerous because our opponent knows we have these. And if we
No gills, no entry.
if we don't use them and our opponent passes back, we lose them all, right? And that would be really bad. So it's a good thing our opponent challenged our units.
Too cute to go.
That's definitely good for us. Okay. So we're going to play Fizz.
Fizz! Stubbies!
Stubbies! Adorable. Now we're going to have to, unfortunately, use this iterative as well. Which is bad because we don't really have a great target for it. We're also going to send that fleeting Mind Meld back into our deck. I guess we can hit... I guess it's best to hit just Coral Creatures again, but that feels kind of bad. I might have done this in the wrong order. I should have done this before I played the pick a card. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think we'll take Coral Creatures just because Coral Creatures gives us an extra spell mana and a 1 mana spell, whereas like Rune Weaver would only give us the spell, and we'd be a little short on mana. There's the fish. Okay, there's the Burblefish. It's already a 2 cost, which is great for us. That is great for us. So I think we're just gonna play that immediately. Actually, we'll start with the Coral Creatures. We'll see if we want to
So pretty.
reduce, if we want to play this card and reduce the cost, and I think we do. We might do that again, honestly. No, we're gonna play the Ballistic Bot instead.
Once I stamp papers, now faces.
And now faces. So we're gonna play the Wiggly now. And that one cost 1, which means the next one, after we cast another spell, which, you know, we'll do when we copy it, that one will cost 0. So this is a 0 cost Wiggly Burblefish. Fizz levels up. And I think at this time we just do kind of a full attack. We'll leave the Ballistic Bot in the back, I think, and attack with everything else.
You're boring.
You're boring, Fizz. I'm thinking about maybe playing the fish before, you know, like before we attack, but I think I don't want to do that.
Wiggly.
I think this is a fine attack.
Approach, savage.
So our opponent trades us down, which is just as well because we're kind of running out of board space here. Yeah, I'm up. We're not going to play the fish. We're not going to play the Burblefish until after he attacks with his challengers next turn.
Prime and ready.
What we want to do now is, since we've cast a bunch of spells, what we're looking to do is fill the board with elusives and then play Mind Meld and win the game. That's the whole plan. Play Mind Meld, win the game. That's the idea. Now, we did just top deck our Aftershock, which means we could actually take down this Grand Plaza. But I don't know if that's actually the play. I don't actually think that's the play at all. We're just going to play this Salesman as a blocker.
Let's make a deal.
I don't think taking down the Grand Plaza at this stage in the game matters anymore. We're kind of looking for lethal here.
Fly
And we
to
can
them on
use
broken wings.
we can use Aftershock to create that lethal. Okay, Riven levels up. Fair enough.
I am reforged.
I suppose time to get rowdy.
Sure. Absolutely. We'll block just like that.
Beamer. No refund.
Our opponent is getting very low on health, which is great for us. We can actually kind of just afford to pass here. Like, we could play the Ignition, we could play a couple things, but our opponent really has to attack here. They can't just, like, let this happen. They have to pick away our board. Yeah, they need to kill the Burblefish. Block like that. There's no reason to keep this alive, so we can just... It's not dealing any damage, but we can just use it to block a little bit of damage on our own face. Just like that. As our opponent goes down to... Okay, ow. Yep, that did hurt. That did hurt a little bit, but that's okay. We go down to 8, our opponent goes down to 6. And now we're gonna play the Coral Creatures.
There's another one!
Make sure we get that attune in there. Ooh, Jury Rig is a nice pull. We're also gonna play the Ignition because we do want to, you know, be damaging our opponent as much as possible.
Rise, metal brethren.
And then we'll go Burblefish. We'll go Burblefish as well.
Can you improve perfection?
And there's the counterfeit copies. Always a turn late on the counterfeit copies. Counterfeiting your own Burblefish is certainly a thing you can do, so sometimes it's good to keep that in mind. Ooh, and we find a... Wow, okay. Alright. So this is looking pretty nutty. Pretty nutty. We actually have to do some math here. We have 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. This is actually, like, pretty perfect.
Can you improve perfection?
So we're going to start with the Ignition, and then we're going to discard the Jury Rig with our Poro Cannon, play both the Poros, and then go for Mind Meld. And that should win the game. That should be lethal. Unless he can do something about the Poros before, you know, before the Mind Meld goes off, which I doubt. I highly doubt that. So here we go.
System upgrade. Safety disengaged.
All right, here goes Mind Meld. Our opponent might insta-concede here, but I hope they don't. I'd like to see the animation. Okay, cool. He takes out our bot. That's fine. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Lovely. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. I don't see how that helps
No
you.
turning back now. Wait.
We're just gonna attack with everything. Threaten a cool 45 damage. And there you go. There you go. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. I don't know what else to say. It's just that simple. All right, game 2. Game 2, we have Vi Victor with Shadow Isles. I have no idea what this deck is about. I have no idea what we're looking at here. I don't think we want to keep Mind Meld in our opening hand. There's always a chance we'll find more than one, and that's not really what we want. Zap is kind of a later game play as well, so we'll mow those both away. We do find us a suit up, which is not ideal. We'll discard that with Poro Cannon most likely. Now, I still don't like playing Pool Shark on turn 1. It might be okay to do so, but we would have drawn this Cask Salesman and he would have been fleeting and that would have been a problem, right? So I still don't like doing it, but you can make the argument that it's okay.
We playing bilge rules, son?
We will not block that. We'll just discard the suit up now. I probably should have discarded the suit up last turn and played the elusive Poro, the daring Poro on turn 1. It shouldn't matter too much, but that probably would have been a better play. Okay, so now we have a fleeting pick a card. And we have to decide what we're gonna throw back. I'm going to pick probably the used Cask Salesman. I don't want him in my hand right now. We can attack first. But yeah, I'm gonna throw that guy back. We'll see what we draw. Hopefully we draw a bunch of cheap things, because this is looking a little like we're out of mana here. Good, good. Perfect. Perfect. Look at that. Amazing. Ideal. Well, we are gonna play a Teemo as a Mushroom Cloud, perhaps, which is not the most ideal thing in the world, but the rest of this is looking nice. Clump of Once. Trail of Evidence. Is this an Assembly Bot deck? I really don't know what my opponent's deck is all about. Okay, well, there goes Teemo. That's okay, I got another one. That's fine. Oh, that's so fine.
Prepared for anything, Teemo.
Teemo. We don't need to play Pool Shark here. Yeah, so I won't. We could play the Pool Shark there, but I don't think we need to. We're going to... Honestly, we're just gonna play the Burblefish, I think. It costs 4, which is a bit pricey. But we can then iterative improve it and make Fizz elusive, and I think that's probably the play.
Our goals are greater than petty violence.
So we make a copy of it. The next one's gonna be cheaper. And we get a big elusive attack off here. And that's what we're looking for. Hopefully our opponent doesn't run Withering Wail. That would make me super sad. That would make me super sad if we got hit by a Withering Wail. Our opponent's probably wishing he had it. He's like, God, where's my Withering Wail right now? Victor, ironically, Victor is a big problem for my deck, for this deck we're running. And that right there is the reason. He just got lifesteal. That's a problem. If he gets a couple more decent keywords, Victor could just win the whole game for our opponent.
Another brilliant design.
Like if he gets elusive, we're donezo. It's all over from there. Oh, that's so brave. Oh, that's so brave. What if I had a Poro Cannon, man? Alright, Fizz goes down. Fizz goes down. That's what I get for spending all my mana, I suppose. That's what I get. Alright, but there's the Mind Meld. Okay. There's a Mind Meld, but we're only at 3 spells so far, so we're gonna need a couple more spells here.
Analyzing approach.
He got... Wow! How do they do that? I just played a game a little while ago against with this deck against a Victor deck who also got elusive in lifesteal. How do they do it? That is actually incredible. That is actually incredible. We're gonna play the Ballistic Bot, I think.
That I am one superior life form.
If he wants to attack with this Victor, he is going to lose it to an aftershock. The question is whether or not that's enough. That might just be too much life for us to, you know, re-deal. We'll pass here. See what our opponent wants to do. Okay, so Piltover and Shadow Isles have literally no way of healing units, I'm pretty sure. So if we just block nice and easy,
Something the matter.
Inferior design.
like that, there should be nothing our opponent can do to save Victor from this aftershock. I think. There should be nothing. Nothing I can think of at any rate.
Wait.
My future.
We're gonna take him out. Because our opponent's already back up to 17 life because of that guy. Not ideal. Less than ideal. However, our Mind Meld is getting big now, right? So as long as we can stabilize here.
Perfection.
Nice. We're gonna start with the ignition.
Safety disengaged.
And then we'll probably play Burblefish.
Rise, metal brethren. Once I stamp papers, now faces. System
And see what our 1 mana spell is. It's a counterfeit copy. It's not what we're looking for. Certainly not what we're looking for. That's fine. That's fine. He takes out our Burblefish. Okay. Pick a card in hand. I'm thinking about putting this counterfeit copies onto Pool Shark here. Is that silly? That feels a little silly. I think I'm gonna do it anyway.
Safety disengaged.
Where do you stand on
Just so that
cold
when we,
shots?
you know, as we go through our deck, we'll go through our deck more, you know. All right, Timu goes down. He's picking us apart. He's picking apart our little elusives here. But he's completely out of steam. Our opponent is completely out of cards here, right? And we're not quite. We're just almost out of cards, right?
Prime and ready.
All right. So we find a Fizz and another Pool Shark. This one wasn't even created by counterfeit copies. That one was that's just one that's in our deck.
Where you going?
We don't need to block the other two. We can take some damage here. Our opponent has to block us. We do not have to block our opponent. At all. So we're gonna slam down the Fizz here. Honestly, there's something to be said for going for like putting counterfeit copies onto this Mind Meld. Like that was something I definitely could have done. I don't think it was correct, but it was certainly an option, you know?
A ticket to the gun show.
It was certainly an option.
Prime and ready.
Oh, dang, that's a bug. Wow. Okay, so Mind Meld actually doesn't work the way it says it does. It says it sets allies' power and health to number of spells you've played, but it actually only sets it to the number of spells you've cast. And if you don't know the difference between casting a spell and playing a spell,
We playing build rules? Some?
yeah, a spell is not considered cast until after it resolves, but it's considered played immediately, you know, as soon as it's played. As soon as it's put on the stack, it is played.
Safety disengaged.
All right. So I can't play that Playful Trickster, but this is a potential rally. Oh, that's interesting. That's super interesting. We're going to start with this Ignition, obviously,
You improve perfection.
because we have a Coral Creatures here. Oh, we're on Exactsies though. That's unfortunate. So we're 1 mana off of playing Mind Meld and Playful Trickster this turn, which would have been funny as heck. I mean, we could do it. We could actually do it. So if I go for Mind Meld right now, all my units go to 8/8. And then we could Playful Trickster. Oh, that's so interesting. That's quite interesting. If we do this, we won't have enough mana to do both anymore. Man, this spell, I swear, Playful Trickster should cost 3. I don't know why. I don't know why it costs 4. That's so silly. I think we're gonna do it, right? We're gonna put everything to 8/8. And with 2 elusives, unless our opponent ruinates us, which they might do. Ruinate does still exist, right? I'm gonna go for it. If they ruinate us, so be it. But I'm not certain that my opponent's deck even runs Ruination. In a Victor deck, in a Victor Vi deck, do you really run Ruination? Maybe, but if he goes for like a Vengeance onto Fizz, we do have the answer. You know, potentially. Which means he should Vengeance. Well, actually, Vengeance he can wait for, right? Ah, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, but we're gonna click OK. So now we have a Playful Trickster, which will let us rally Fizz and one of the other units, right? We'll see how this works. We'll see how this goes. So we're threatening lethal. Our opponent has to do something here, right? We don't have to play this until after he responds. So now we're threatening 8 damage and we're rallying with Fizz, who's still elusive, right? So in theory, we're going to hit him for 16 damage this turn, in theory. Our opponent's probably like reading this card like, wait, what? What does that do? Hold up. Wait a minute. All right, so it went off. Fizz connects. We got him. Hey, we got him. Oh, it's that easy. Look at that. Got him. Got him. Man, who said Fizz's Champions Vote was a bad card? Who said that? That's nonsense. OP card, please nerf. What? Make sure I'm nice and well lit. There we are. All right. Game 3, we've got Ash Sejuani with Noxus. A classic. Actually, given my hand, I think I actually want to keep Mind Meld, but I am going to toss Zap back. Hey, and there's the curse right there. Should have known, should have known. We're gonna start with Teemo because we don't have any way of giving Fizz elusive this round. Just in case he had like an Omen Hawk, we didn't want to play Fizz into that, right? Yeah, I guess I should have mulled my Mind Meld. That's what I get. That's what I get for keeping it. Yikes.
Sharpen the blade, secure the kill.
We'll see if he goes for the trade.
Face me.
Hey, he does. That's fine. I will gladly take that trade.
Let me at him.
Actually, maybe we should have. We actually maybe should have played Fizz first to see if he would, like, maybe that would bait him into blocking with his. But I guess we're fine. I guess we're fine with what we did.
Prepared for anything, Teemo.
Teemo.
If they're out there,
I'll spot him. That does block our fizz, unfortunately. Yeah, that keeping on the Mind Meld was a bit ambitious. Having 2 in our hand with no other good spells is pretty rough.
They'll never know what hit 'em.
Pretty rough. We could offer the trade with fizz here.
I'm ready.
Since we have another fizz, I'm actually going to do that.
Look out for reavers.
Doesn't feel great,
Size doesn't mean everything.
but we don't have a ton of choice.
Oh boy, here I go.
Here I go. Yeah, we're not finding our ballistic bot, we're not finding our coral creatures, and it's starting to look a little sad here. Starting to look a little dicey. We'll play the Cask Salesman.
Better this side of the sun.
Kind of just because we need the tempo. And that's bad. That's a bad spot to be in.
No refunds.
Okay, finally that's a good draw. All right. That's a good draw. I think we're probably gonna have to discard one of our Mind Melds, which feels pretty bad. But given our hand, I'm not sure we're even gonna be able to get value out of one of them.
And sneaky. I like it.
Rawr.
Furry and sneaky. I like it.
Oh, he got the Reckoning. Well, that's game.
My collection.
Yep, he got us. He got us with that Reckoning. I mean, we can play this Zap. We can play it out, but it's looking pretty terrible. We're actually gonna be efficient. We're gonna be efficient with our mana. We're gonna use this Aftershock now. But yeah, that was pretty devastating.
Gotta go with the flow.
Oh, well, we have pick a card. We can maybe recover from this, but it's gonna be a long uphill battle. No way, right? No way. There's no way we come back from this.
Through the coral.
He's gonna flood the board this turn. I have nothing in my hand, and he's gonna kill us next turn. I mean, maybe not literally kill us, because we will have a blocker, right? We'll have to block with Zap next turn.
Faster than my arrow? I think not.
Oh, okay, that's the only... Oh, wow, okay. No, we're still dead. We're actually still dead. What am I even talking about? He got us.
You can't do this.
GG. He got us. So, there's an example of why I don't want to play that deck in ranked. There you go. That's kind of on me. I kept the Mind Meld in my opening hand, even though I didn't have a single spell, and that's on me. But in reality, this deck is not that consistent, and that kind of thing will happen a lot. So the deck is definitely fun, and I highly recommend it if you want to, you know, slap your enemy with some fish. But if you're wanting to like climb ladder and get out there on the ladder and climb up there to masters, this is probably not the deck for you. But that's the deck right there. I hope you guys enjoyed those games. I think that will be it for today. In case you don't know me, my name is Gameboy Rob. I stream every day on Twitch, twitch.tv/GameboyRob. Go ahead and give me a follow. It is totally free. It is fun. And yeah, we have a nice time over there. Also, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video.